So welcome, yogis. Those of you that are able to join me live this morning. It's a kind of gray Thursday morning, which I don't mind right now because I've had plenty of sunshine for the last few days. Has been awesome. And so thanks for coming in. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Candace. As a way to maybe clear the decks a little bit for the upcoming long weekend, whether you're off to somewhere or just staying put and pretty much doing the same stuff. We maybe can just shift perspective and be open to be surprised. And I've been doing some reflection on in the midst of all the challenges of the last year and a bit. That there are good things that have been and are happening, but those more positive events, experiences are more like Teflon in our minds, so they kind of take a longer time to stick, whereas the harder, more gripping, clenching, protective, tightening types of responses in the body act like Velcro, and they stick and they hold. And so, we just can be aware of that and see if we can release a little bit through this practice that we're going to be doing today. And I have my camera set up a little differently because we won't be standing up. As far as props, it's a nice class to have pillows for. I have a strap, a scarf, if you have anything, a long sock that you can use to hold legs. Otherwise, you can just use your hands. You don't even really need pillows. I can use my flat blanket or towel to fold that up, something to sit on. It becomes a little seat, or even to roll it for some postures where we want to have something underneath our thighs or even under our breastbone or upper back. So just whatever's in your space. The walls are here and we may use those for an inversion. We're going to start on our backs. Also, if sitting, you want to sit on something that's got more height, then that can be the edge of your bed or a chair. So we're getting a few more coming on board here. I think I'm seeing Jennifer. So welcome. And we're just getting started, so you haven't missed anything. I'm going to start by lying down and bringing the feet a little bit wide, the knees into touch, tucking the tailbone, and picking up the head for a moment there, just so you can get some traction. So you can massage a little bit, dig your thumbs into the back of your neck, the base of your skull. Maybe there's some tightness there, and then draw a little more length as you lay your head down. You can press the back of your skull to the floor and lift up the right shoulder blade, tuck it under yourself a little bit, and then the same thing with the left. So if your legs aren't comfortable in this position, this is constructive rest. Then the legs can be long. I mentioned at the beginning of the class that anything in your space, if you have couch pillows, can be used if you want more support underneath the upper thighs. So do whatever you need to do just to get into a restful posture where you can feel some ease. And so I've been finding it helpful myself to do a practice that is becoming easier to remember. Of course, as we practice, that's how it goes. If we don't practice, we forget. Mindfulness is, by definition, remembering who we are. And so to invite some attention into this moment to being present. It's just this act of stopping. So that's number one, just stop or pause as a way of being present. So you can feel your body as it is in this posture. The feet on the floor, some contact with the parts of your feet that are meeting the earth. The back of the skull. Whatever part of the hands, the palms, or the backs of the hands that are connecting with the earth. Or the palms can be resting on the lower abdomen. Beginning to come into connection with this beingness, being still. Open to having some intimacy with your inner experience. And we come to this practice where we know we can connect with others as well on this, excuse me, Zoom profile. So it's that combination of connection with other beings, connection and intimacy with your own inner experience, so you can better take care of what the needs are right now. So once we've pressed pause and are present, comes and it goes, of course. The mind is active. The mind is its sole reason for being is to create thoughts and solve problems. It's helpful to know that and over time not be as triggered or yanked around by all that. It can be playing in the background. And so the next step is to gain some perspective. You can just call it looking at what's here. Your eyes can be open, maybe just to see, to be aware of the visual field that is happening for you, something that's on the ceiling. You might even move your head around a little bit and take in my room, there's a couple of pictures. There's a window. I can see the branches that are blowing in the breeze out there, just to see what is in the visual field and appreciate that there is one here. So the senses help to connect us to our own experience as well. Or if your eyes are closed, then there may be some shapes or colors or some sensations going on. Stop and looking and getting some perspective on feelings that may be here in the body, sensations of some soreness. Maybe you've been doing some more activities, hiking or biking, getting started on some of those things outdoors. Gardening might be a big one. We're going to work a lot on some of the spine and shoulders and arms today to bring some ease to those muscles. And maybe there's something in the mental field, that landscape of thinking, caught up in a particular event and reactions to that event, the emotional tone of things, something you might want to let go of, just for a little while. This is the look part, gaining some perspective so that from there we can move to what's next. If there's something to do, something that you might like to have a little more of in your life, in your practice, some relief in a muscle group or a joint, or in the gripping of those thoughts, or something you'd like to add that would be helpful, a little more friendliness or compassion to your own inner experience right now. Noticing that breath is here. You can be taking the breath in and out through the nose, or almost a whistle shape in the mouth. As you breathe out, so you're sending the exhale almost like it's going out through a straw. Sipping the breath in through the nose and then exhale. A bit of a blowing action out into space to deepen and lengthen the exhale. Allowing the lips to come together and being okay with the rhythm of your natural breath right now. Starting to release from this posture, to stretch the legs out and the arms away from the body, and starting to take the right fingers long away from the right heel. So it feels like that right side of the body is getting a little longer. And then just switching to the left side, reaching the left heel away from the left fingers. Going really slowly, walking from side to side, or just like you're climbing a ladder, pressing the heel away from the fingertips and just moving from side to side. Take one more big stretch out and tighten everything. Draw the belly in, make fists with the hands, draw the toes towards the face, feel the back dropping into the floor. Bring the muscles of the face together too, and squeeze the eyes, the nose, the mouth, everything to center. Tighten, tighten. And then release. Big breath in. And exhale, just wiggle the legs nice and loosely. Move some of the fluids through all of the network there. All of the fascia, flip-flop the legs. You can open and close the fingers pretty fast as well. And then bring the knees in towards the chest and hug them in nice and tight. Let's take the arms open into a wide wing. You could put something between your knees if you have something there, so this won't be your deepest twist, but we're just going to start warming up the thoracic spine. Starting to let the knees come over towards the right and just let them to come down wherever they do. So the knees don't have to stay stacked. They can be lower down with the legs straighter or crunched up a little more towards the right elbow. Left arm reaching away or down further beside the hip. You can keep it a little more on an A-frame with the arms so that the left shoulder can stay heavy towards the ground. As you start to enter this posture, where we spend about 5 breaths, allow your gaze to drift over towards the left if that feels comfortable for your neck. Otherwise, it can just be wherever it is comfortable, looking to the ceiling or down towards the knees on the right side. Either setting your gaze on a spot on the wall or the ceiling, wherever that is, or just allowing the eyes to be closed and taking in the visual field that's there, the shapes or colors. Allowing yourself to be at rest in this posture where the lungs are having a bit more space on the left side. Tuning fork to the inner experience. And having some friendliness to whatever might be happening across the mind. Remembering that the negative is a little more like Velcro and holds fast. The things that are surprises and more positive, or the more positive aspects of what things are surprising that may not be seen initially as what we want, those take a little more time to sink in. So just rest. One more breath. Start to bring the left knee up, and then the right knee can follow. You might need to place your feet down in center, eventually shifting your knees over towards the left side. The knees can have some space between them. They might be lower or higher up. It might be different on this side. So adjust your torso, your arms to be at a height where your right shoulder, or at least mostly the back of that shoulder blade, is still on the ground. Otherwise, just ease it back a little bit. So it works for your body to rock the head a little bit and then allow that to nestle in. It feels nice to give your eyes a complete break. Maybe you've been looking at the screen or being outdoors. You can just let the eyelids drape like silk sheets. And resting here for about 5 breaths. So if you find it helpful, if your mind is really active, it's okay. You might count the exhales as a way of just staying with the connection to the self, to the lungs, or just be with the sensations of the movement of that. As things come and go here, the breath comes and goes, as well as the thoughts and emotional tone. No big deal. Let's let the next breath in, bring the right knee up, and then the left knee up, and let the feet come to the floor. A few pelvic movements with the hands now down towards the heels with the palms facing down. Let the low back drop into the floor, exhale. And then let the tailbone rock forward. So you have a little arch or a little cow shape in the lower back, and then exhale, press the low back down. Let your attention rest on the feet and the hands as you rock the hips back and forth through this familiar, very therapeutic movement for the spine. Feeling the muscles that are engaging in around the hips and the low belly, just to help shifting the pelvis back and forth, the tailbone dropping down. And then the tailbone lifting up, but the back of the hips are staying, pressing down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, tailbone to the floor. And then exhale, press the hips, press the hands, and let the spine start to peel up. Just do a little drawbridge. Take an inhale there. And then exhale, roll down. It's like you're laying out a string of pearls with some connection and space coming between them. Tailbone to the floor on the inhale. And then exhale, press the low back. Peel it up. Strengthen the legs, reach the knees, coming up to the broad line or a little higher without any crunching in the neck. And then the exhale slowly maneuvers the spine back down, one vertebra at a time. Breathing in at the bottom. And then this time press the low back. Lift the hips and stay there. You can let the hips, the weight of the hips and the bones soften a little bit. Let's take the arms up on the inhale. Stretching the fingertips long and the palms to the ceiling. And then keep the arms reaching back as you slowly lower down the spine. Just feeling a little difference in the articulation of all of that. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, let the hands float down. Another breath in there. Press the low back to the floor. Peel the hips up on the inhale. Settle a little bit on the exhale. And then float the arms up. Inhale. Another exhale there. Press the backs of the hands to the floor. Breathing in. And then keep the hands there, but roll down through the spine. Feeling the length coming. Breathe in at the bottom. Exhale, palms float back down. One more time through that sequence. Breathe in. Tailbone rolls to the floor. Arch in the low back. Press the hips. Low back presses, and now the hips are lifting. Inhale there. Exhale. Raise the arms. Breathing in. Backs of the hands press. On an exhale, whenever that comes, roll the spine down. Keep reaching the arms away. Breathe in at the bottom. Hips roll forward, and then exhale, bring the arms down. Pause, just take a breath in. Let's hug the knees in towards the chest again and give that a squeeze. Tailbone is long, reach the knees away, inhale, and then hug, knees back in, exhale. Give the colon some massage. Knees reach away, and then knees hug in. Let's bring the feet to the floor now and roll it onto the left side. Just gonna set it up with the knees like you're sitting in a chair. And then you're gonna rest. So it's kind of make an elbow pillow with your left arm, so your head can rest there. You're supporting the back of your head, or maybe feeling your hand. Give the back of your skull a little bit of support there. You could also use a pillow here if that's better. The right arm is going to reach forward. Just going to reach a little forward, rolling the tip of the nose towards the floor, and then start to crawl the right fingertips around the back of your space. So your left hand can support your head as you open up into a little bit of a cactus arm. And then see about reaching your right arm on a bit of a diagonal towards the top right corner of your room. Inhale. And then take that arm and start to bring it back around the top of your mat, tracing the floor. Doesn't mean anything has to touch. There's no right or wrong here. Reach a little forward with the right arm. And then again, into that half circle or semicircle around, support the head. You can let your gaze move if it's comfortable for your neck. You're coming back into that cactus shape. Reach the right arm on a diagonal and then around and back to start, rolling. And then just go ahead and explore whatever movements with this right arm as it maybe comes into that cactus. You might just stay there. Maybe do a fuller circle all the way down towards the hips in that direction as you roll back. It's kind of playing around here with the shoulder, with the rib cage, with the hips. The knees might come apart a little bit. You could change direction. Good. And then when you've had enough of that, just come back to the start. Going to roll it onto the back. Give the hips a little bit of bounce to reset the bones. And then let's just take it right away onto the other side. So I'm bending my right elbow, lining up my knees in front of my hips and coming down. It's like I was kind of lying sideways on my bed or on the beach. Taking the left arm and reaching it forward just in front of the chest or shoulder area. And then crawling the left fingers around in a semicircle, letting the head kind of go with that. So I'm looking at the ceiling and then into a cactus shape. Might adjust your spine a little bit. Here, adjust the height of the knees so it feels okay. Take a breath there with that broadness across the collarbones. If it feels nice to stretch your left arm out a little more on a diagonal, so we move so slowly in this class that we get to do some of those pausing and looking, getting perspective and deciding where it makes sense to go. And if not, we don't. Might just stay or trace the circle back to the beginning. Pause there. Let the tip of the nose roll a little more towards the floor. So you're almost coming a little more to your front body. And then crawl the fingers around the back and open again the cactus shape to pause. Breathing in, the arm moves on a diagonal to the top left. And then back around across your upper part of your mat. You might stretch the left fingers even further forward, rolling tip of the nose to touch the floor. And then back around and open, just exploring whatever shapes on this side, maybe all the way down towards the hip. Can reverse the direction. Finding some freedom for the head, neck, and shoulders, the whole rib cage to move with some synchronicity here. Pausing somewhere for another full breath cycle in and out. And back through center. This time, let's just use the left hand in front of the chest. Take a breath there. Use the left hand to press yourself up. And we'll come into a tabletop shape. You can use the blanket if it's there to have some padding for the knees. And take the knees a little bit wide. Press into the palms, come back towards a child's pose, but not all the way. And then shift forward. You can let the hips drop a little bit, coming into a variation of an upward facing dog, and then peel the belly back, sending back towards the heels and shifting forward. You can let the pelvis drop a little bit. You can even lift up the heels. You can explore how this feels in the spine. Belly lifts, coming back and shifting forward. Inhale. Couple more of those, finding some enjoyment, moving with the breath. And then settle back towards the heels, stretching out the bottoms of the feet, shifting the hips from side to side. If it's too much to be sitting back towards the heels or with the knees wide, you can bring the knees together and take a higher height with your seat. Let's come up on the fingertips and stretch out the backs of the wrists. This posture can be a little more active with the arms, with the upper arm bones wrapping under. Or you can just bend the elbows in a kind of wide diamond shape and rest your forehead on your palms or fists, or bring in something that's got a little more height underneath your forehead. That's better. Let's take those 5 breaths, seeing if we can just slow things down a little bit in our physiology, present to the body in this posture, to the sensations, to the activity of the mind, not taking any of that too seriously. To seeing if in this posture there's something that needs to happen or change, if there's pain, for sure, or if it's some space that might be coming through a bit of discomfort. Just making decisions around that for one more breath. And let's walk it to the hands and knees. Do a couple of the cat-cow movements, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So a lot of the action is in the squeeze of the shoulder blades. And then the exhale to lift the belly up and shake out the head a few times. Pressing the inner palm as you come forward, inhale. Just to protect the outer wrist, and then exhale, belly lifts. Moving in your own rhythm of breath, and if this is not comfortable for the wrist, then come to fists, or you can do this on the forearms. All about attending to your own experience here. Let's curl the toes under and sit back towards the heels. Stretch the bottoms of the feet, press the floor away there. For 3, 2, and 1. Let's shift back through. Bring the tops of the feet down and just have a seat back towards the heels, if you can, there for a moment, and circle the shoulders a couple of times. Let's do a couple big circles with the right arm. You could be standing for this on your knees if you like. We're stretching the fronts of the ankles, exploring this movement of the arm on the right side. And then let the right palm just rest. Take a moment, breathe in. Let's come up again and curl the toes under. Go a little deeper in the stretch of the bottoms of the feet as you sit back. And then big circles with the left arm. Reaching forward a little bit on a diagonal, and then you might even follow that arm with your gaze. Coming back, a little twist of the rib cage. Let that palm rest for one more breath. Squeeze the shoulders, inhale. And exhale. Shifting back to the hands and knees. You bring the tops of the feet down, sitting back into child's pose again. Or you might come up to sit on your heels and bring the fingertips behind, loop the shoulders and find that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Tucking the tailbone towards the knees and lifting the hips for a breath in. And out. tabletop shape. Let's thread the needle a little bit differently. So take the left hand forward and a little off to the side. We'll take the right arm and reach it on a diagonal forward and to the right, up towards the wall somewhere. And wrap the left side of the rib cage under. So this is more movement in the ribs than to do with the shoulder. And then take your right arm, wrap it under and down on the outside of your left knee towards the left bottom corner of your mat. Let's do that a couple times. Press left palm, reach on that diagonal to the right, and then take the right fingers down towards the bottom left corner of your mat, peeking under your arm. And one more time, inhale, diagonal reach, and then exhale. Let yourself come all the way down, rest on your right shoulder, and adjust your left palm to be wherever you like, in front of your face or chest, but it's a little different stretch for the shoulders. And just be here, opening to the sensations, where the breath is in the lungs right now, where there might be some discomfort, whether any changes need to be made or whether stillness is okay. Giving some attention to this right shoulder, right hip. Let's press the left palm and open up one more time, inhale. And then place the right hand back down. Let's do the other side. So right hand moves forward a little bit. The left arm's going to stretch forward and open to the left on that diagonal. So the right ribs are wrapping under. And then bring the left fingers down towards the bottom right corner, towards the right foot in that direction. Reach on the diagonal to the left. Inhale and then exhale, reaching to the right side of your bottom mat. Once more, inhale. And then exhale, bring it all the way. See if you can find a way for the left side of your head to be comfortable, resting or maybe a little bit lifted. See if there's anything in the body, maybe something in the face that can soften or dissolve. It might be in the mind, maybe that problem keeps trying to be solved. One more breath there. Press the right palm and open up the left arm. One more. And then take it back. Good. Let's bring the elbows down now. And just clasp the hands together. Walk the elbows a little forward. Keep your hips above your knees. Going to start to send the hips back. Just see what that feels like to send your breastbone towards the floor. And then shift forward. So your shoulders come back over your elbows again. And then exhale, start to send the hips up and back and chest towards the floor. Just feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades. Come forward on the inhale. And exhale, come back. So you don't have to have the hands clasped. If your forehead comes to the floor, then you might be taking your hands to the back of your head, pressing into your fingertips and wiggle your elbows a little closer together. But not necessary. You could just have the arms wide and have your forehead floating or resting on a book or a block, pillow or your blanket, whatever you have. So we're going for a deep thoracic spine, broadening the collarbones. Just relax your arms wherever you are. It may feel like the lower back is arching. And so just lifting a little bit or having a sense of finding some widening, finding some breath in the lower back there. Mind wanders off, gets caught up in something, no problem. Move just back to here, pause. Right away, you're in the body. Gain some perspective. What might be the opportunity right now that's coming. Let's take one more breath before we transition. Good, and then come to tabletop shape again. Let's just do a little bit of some lunging. And so I'm going to take my blanket. This is if you want a deeper opening in the hip flexor psoas, blanket or a pillow. You can choose the height of it, just a little bit of height, something that the left knee can be resting on, and then the right foot to come forward. Just stretch out the left leg, lift the knee to start with, and then bring the knee back down. You can keep your back toes curled under or bring the top of the foot down. So this is a little more of an active yin posture this morning. You can decide if the hands want to be inside the right foot. You can walk that foot out a little bit. You can turn the toes out a bit. Fingertips or fists. If you use blocks, then you can have a little more height there. If you are really flexy in the hips, then you can come down onto the elbows. That's not happening for me today. So there might be a little heat. Just taking those steps again, just to pause and be present. The body in this shape, taking that in the awareness. Seeing what's here, maybe just what's in front of you, the focus on the ground or the tip of the nose, the opportunity that might be presenting, something releasing in the hip, or some information about what is contracting. Any action that needs to be taken to be okay for a few more breaths. You can always back off. And so let's start to do that now. On the exhale, start to take the hips back. Let the toes draw towards the face and come up a little bit higher on that right leg. You can have a deep bend at the knee still. We're just going to stay here for 2 breaths. And then shifting however you like, however you extricate yourself from that. Just a pause for a moment. Take it in before we move to the other side. You can be on your hands and knees if sitting back doesn't work. Let's take it to the hands and knees and do a couple of barrel rolls. So roll out like you have a barrel in the torso or a big beach ball. We're picking up on one side, going out a little bit on an arc, down through center, up on one side, the head drops, moving through. Something that feels along those lines, or of a big beach ball in the rib cage. And then try the change of direction, down on that first side and up on the other side. Good, and then we'll take the support if you're using something. It's less intense if you don't have a lift underneath your knee thigh area. I'm stepping on this with my right knee a little towards the back of the lip and then stepping the left foot forward. So when straightening out the right leg, then laying the knee back down, top of the foot down, pulling forward a little bit. Choosing where to position the hands so you don't have to be working too much in the shoulders. You could also just be up, kind of resting here with the forearms on the thigh. See what's happening in the body and the face and the shoulders right now as this pose does its job. And the goal here to unravel a little bit of the tightness in the hip flexor psoas on that right side. It's the sitting and the squatting in the garden. Good. One more breath. Let's slowly start to shift the hips back. You can curl the right toes under and then draw the left toes towards the face. Come up a little bit. And let it go. We'll shift back and out of the posture. Let's all just take a seat. Windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And then bring the knees over to the left. I'm just resting with the right knee close to the left heel and walk the left hand around behind your hip a little bit. Let's take a swoop with that right arm and reach towards the back or on a diagonal. And then press into your shins if that feels okay to lift your hips. Either a side stretch here, or you can take it into a little back arch, tucking the tail. And then exhale, lower that down. We'll shift over to the other side. So bring your knees over towards the right, left knee or thigh up towards the right foot. Walk the right arm around behind. So you start to come into a twist. So this could be it. You can just stay here. Nice, really great for the spine, the hips, or start to swing your left arm around as well and press into your shins to lift the hips up. You can hold the back of your head if that feels better. You can look to the ceiling for a bit more of a back arch, sweeping the tailbone long. And then exhale, bring that back down. And bring the legs out from under and give them a swish. Just wiggle the feet. Let's take the knees to bent. And we'll take a forward fold. So hands underneath the thighs to lift up. And then just wiggle the bum back a bit. Walk the heels out. Wiggle bum back, walk the heels forward. Stay nice and broad across the collarbones. Just a gentle clasp of the wrists or the elbows, whatever you can grab underneath your legs. And you're going to stop along the way and just check in as you take a few more breaths and adjust to where you're still feeling connected with your belly to your thighs. Pillows underneath here is also a nice one. So for those tight hamstrings, we're not overstretching behind the knees, but we're getting just that nice wide back. Posture of surrender again, just to this moment, just to this breath. This experience and body being. Just finding a way to continue to have that friendliness towards what might be arising. See it. Make some space for it. Welcome it in. It's coming anyways. May not stick around as long if there's not so much pushback. And walk the hands back, coming up, and we'll come onto the back. So you can have your, if you have that blanket or pillow, you might want to have that nearby, something that's easy to grab. We're going to use our strap. Yeah, so just let's bring it down onto the back. And once you're there, you could have your hips a little elevated. Blanket folded up a couple times, or you don't need to have anything. We're going to take the strap around the right foot and reach that leg up towards the ceiling. Just gonna, if you don't have the strap, no problem. Just arms to reach to the upper thigh, hamstring, or arms can stay on the floor. Just press up through that heel. If you are using a strap and it's long enough, then your elbows can stay on the floor. Let's let the legs start to open up to the right. You can turn the toes out first. So you get that nice outer rotation, and open the leg to the right and pull a little extra on the left end of the strap. Should feel something in the IT band or the outer hamstring. The left leg can stay bent. If you feel like your left hip is lifting up, you might let your left knee just fall open, or you can straighten out your left leg. Keeping that pelvis level for another inhale. Exhale, bring that leg up. Let's start to take it across the midline over towards the left, and pause for a moment. Pull on the right end of the strap. If you don't have the strap, you can just hold the leg from going too far with your left hand catching onto the inner or outer thigh. You can take this further if you like, coming up with the right hip, taking both ends of the strap, or just holding the leg with your left hand and go as far as feels good, stretching the right arm away and looking in that direction. You can also just bend your left knee and let this be really soft for 3, 2, and 1. Back through. Let's just loop the strap off there and hug the right knee in towards the chest. Circle out the ankle a few times, both directions. Drift the right leg down to meet the left leg for a moment and just pause there. This might feel some right and left asymmetry. And let's bend the knees again. Hug the left thigh in and wrap the strap or your hands around your hamstring. Backs of the arms on the floor, if possible. Pressing up through that heel. Allowing the whole back line of that leg to open without stretching the ligaments behind the knee. Let's let the toes turn out now. Let the legs start to move out. If you've got the strap, pull a little extra on the right with the right hand just to keep that movement in some window where the pelvis isn't moving. You can let your right knee fall to the side or straighten the right leg out to keep the right hip down. Connected. This leg, body parts connected as well into the pelvis. Bring the leg up. Bring it over towards the right now. Tug on the left edge of the strap. Or just hold the leg with your hands. If you want to take it into the twist, the left hip can lift up. It's like we're going over the hurdles here, both ends of the strap in your right hand, and the left arm stretching away for 3, 2. Oh, I just felt a little pop. And 1. Come back to center. Bring that thigh in, release the strap, and circle out. Ankle, both directions. Lengthen it down. Both legs long now, just pause there. Let the weight of the body drop. So we're coming towards our finishing and a rest. So take a moment here before going anywhere. What does the body need right now? What does your internal experience want? Could be just to stay just as you are, not moving anywhere else. Well, maybe you feel an inversion, some way to get some nurturing back to the heart. You can take your little blanket or pillow and tuck it underneath the hips. That could be nice just there with the knees bent. Or the legs can float up, especially if you have been upright or have plans to be sitting or hiking. You can use a wall if you prefer, or the edge of your couch. I will wiggle my bum up to the wall. Get in nice and close, and then, yeah, the legs can go up, like so is really pretty sweet. Yeah. So choose your place of rest. So we've had lots of focus and meditation in each posture. Just let this be a time of kind of drifting off. Let yourself get into the boat. The light breeze taking it away from all of the attachments and just out into the middle of the bay. Nothing to do, nothing to get done, nothing to achieve. This is enough. You are enough. Deserving of this time of ease and space. If you are able to stay out in the boat for longer, please do that. Only because we're approaching the noon bell. If you need to come back to the dock, then take your time drifting back to land. Feel the body and the posture that it's in. Bring some movement back. Maybe the face. You can use some jaw release, moving the jaw left and right, sticking out the tongue. Rolling to one side and using a free hand to press up to sit. Coming to sit and know that we're sitting, and to open up the experience to take in each other's presence and that connectivity that we are so craving with other beings, with each other, extending the merits of our practice to inform not only our our own lives and actions, thoughts, as we move it out into our day and into our perhaps our plans and decisions of what's really necessary. That we also extend same wishes for safety, well-being, for happiness, for freedom from suffering to all beings everywhere, including ourselves and each other. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming. It's so nice to have some live friends here. I'm just going to turn the recording off.